Germany. And my hoodie look when the wind blows.
It'd be better if you step back.
Wow, there. Okay, so this is the famous Dublin Post Office. So, according to Iggy, that bullet during that one, yan, nakita nyo ba? Hirap na hirap ako, diba? It's the famous Dublin Post Office. This one. When was this, my love?
1960.
1960. Makita nyo yung mga ano pa ng bala ba? Oh, we're waiting for the hop off bus. Okay. Bank of Ireland. With all the
known for its great cocktail bars and the Dawson Lounge.
Dublin Street.
Having only a capacity of 40 people, the Dawson Lounge is the smallest pub in Dublin. From the stop, you can also see the Mansion House a little further ahead on the right. It's where the Mayor of Dublin lives, and also the site of the first Dáil in Ireland after independence.
He looked up high and often sighed, and sometimes cried. Some kind of sort of dreamt up someone so divine.
It's like a graduation or something, right?
If you look to your right as we pass the junction, you will see Leinster House, the front of Dáil Éireann, Ireland's government buildings.
Which one?
And we will be turning and passing the front main entrance also. Don't worry, I'll point it out, but I wanted to give you some more information on Trinity first. The college was founded in 1592 by Queen Elizabeth I. It is the oldest and most prestigious university in Ireland, and is one of the 7 ancient colleges of Britain and Ireland. It is closely linked with Oxford and Cambridge, and is considered amongst the elite universities of Europe.
There you go. Guys get to go there then, lad.
As you can imagine, Trinity College is not an easy university to be accepted into. Academia aside, it was also very difficult to study there in the past if you were a Catholic. It was only in 1793 that Catholics were admitted, but they were still restricted on things such as professorships, fellowships, and scholarships. It was 1873 before these restrictions were lifted, and Catholic students were entitled to everything Protestant students were. Sounds good, except that the Catholic Church then forbade any Catholics from going there. You had to get special permission to attend from the church, and faced excommunication if you disobeyed. A damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation that lasted all the way up until 1970.
1970.
Approaching on the left will be the Irish Whiskey Museum, and on your right, as promised, we will be passing the front of Trinity College. Many notable alumni have walked through its stunning archway. Writers like Oscar Wilde, Bram Stoker, Jonathan Swift and Samuel Beckett, former Irish presidents such as Mary Robinson and Mary McAleese, Oscar-nominated film director Lenny Abramson, and actors like Dominic West, Ruth Negga, and my personal favourite, Pauline McLean, who played the hilarious Mrs. Doyle in Father Ted.
Very good. Have to walk far.
Walking into it feels magical, as if you entered a Harry Potter film. Within the library is held the famous book of Kells, a stunning manuscript dating from around 800 AD. It's considered to be Ireland's finest treasure. After me, of course. Horrors, time vaults, the interactive science and discovery zone, as well as all the historical figures and celebrities. So, if you want your photo with James Bond or Donald Trump, I highly recommend you visit the Wax Museum.
Ah, that's one. Museum. Wax Fox Museum.
Hello. I just wanted to welcome you all on board our tour of Dublin City. If you've been on for a few stops already, please forgive my blatant rudeness in not greeting you sooner. If you look ahead to your right, you will see O'Connell Bridge, which, rather surprisingly, connects to O'Connell Street. Before Ireland had its independence and started reclaiming place names, the street used to be called Sackville Street, the bridge Carlisle Bridge. The bridge also used to be much narrower, until the 1880s when it was widened to match O'Connell Street. It is rumoured that the bridge is as wide as it is long, and actually a square, but I'm afraid that's incorrect. It is actually wider than it is long. It spans 45 metres across the middle and is 15 metres wide.
And this is Penny Bridge.
Oh wow, this is very nice.
I think this is Dublin Castle or Dublin Castle.
Look at that, very vintage. Yeah, look my love, so nice, right? Wow. Okay, the bus. Maybe we can go there tomorrow.
St. Patrick's.
This one? The church over there.
St. Patrick's Cathedral, the largest and oldest church in Ireland. Built between 1220 and 1259, it was built on the site of the river, which St. Patrick himself is said to have used. Over the first 300 years, the building fell in and out of disrepair, and was in fact demoted to a parish church, and was used as a courthouse and even a university. In 1555, it was restored to a cathedral, and the spire
there are
was
lots of
added in the
happenings over there. There are lots of happenings inside.
Benjamin Lee Guinness, grandson of Arthur, who in 1860 paid for and personally oversaw a huge restoration of the cathedral.
Huge restoration of the cathedral.
Next door to St. Patrick's Cathedral is one of the few remaining 18th century buildings in Dublin, still in its original use. Marsh's Library is Ireland's oldest public library. It has a collection of over 25,000 books and 300 manuscripts, some dating back to the 1500s, and they adorn beautiful old original oak shelves. The next stop is stop number 4, St. Patrick's Cathedral and Marsh's Library.
St. Patrick's Cathedral.
2 cathedrals we just passed, and alcohol. And if we are known for our alcohol, we are particularly known for our Guinness, and of course, our whiskies, of which we have quite a few. Whiskey is in fact an anglicisation of the Irish phrase Ishkabah, the water of life. It has been distilled here for centuries, but licensed distilling began in the 1600s. At one point, Irish whiskey was the most popular spirit in the world. Now, it did see a sharp decline in the 1920s and 30s during Prohibition in America, and only a handful of distilleries remained in the 1960s. Luckily for us all, though, it has seen a huge resurgence in recent years, which I, for one, am delighted about. While Dublin is full of many excellent distilleries, all worth visiting, for an overall history of Irish whiskey and a range of delicious tastings, I have to recommend the Irish Whiskey Museum on College Green. It's stop number 1 in your maps. We are famous for producing many alcoholic drinks. It might be cliche that the Irish like a drink, but these distilleries actually stem from the fact that hundreds of years ago it was safer to turn the water alcoholic by fermenting it, as it would kill all the bacteria. So it was quite common to have a slightly alcoholic drink rather than risk supping on potentially dangerous water. When Winston Churchill famously said,
The water was not fit to drink. To make it palatable, we had to add whiskey. By diligent effort, I learned to like it.
Look at the
he
decor.
was being witty. Well, there is a certain truth to that statement. Well, if he had said it a few hundred years before, there would have been anyway.
Alcoholic train.
And we're going to be heading through the tomb. This area is famous for being the location of St. James's Gate Brewery, the home of Guinness, and historically includes numerous distilleries. Actually, in 1875, there was a huge fire in this area, known as the Great Whiskey Fire, when 5,000 barrels of whiskey caught fire and poured onto the streets, engulfing everything in its path. 13 people died during it. None, however, from burns or smoke inhalation, but they died from drinking contaminated whiskey straight off the streets. Bang Bang used to travel on the buses and trams of Dublin, carrying a large key he pretended was a gun. Riding along, he pointed at a passerby, shouting, "Bang Bang!" Most Dubliners became well used to Bang Bang, and many would delight in these shootouts with him, happily firing back or falling over dead if they were shot. You can imagine the sight of several people along the street falling over as Bang Bang leaned out of a tram, shooting the entire street. There is a story of an American couple on a tour similar to this, insisting that the driver call the police as they had seen a shooting outside of the Abbey Theatre. Only when the police arrived did they discover it was just Bang Bang and a few others playing in the street.
They're taking the clothes out of that or putting them in.
Per se, the Guinness Storehouse. Probably one of the most recognisably Irish things. Guinness has been brewed at St. James's Gate since 1759, when Arthur Guinness acquired a 9,000-year lease for the site. Due to the black stuff's popularity, the brewery has expanded far bigger than the original 4-acre site. Now sitting on 50 acres of land here in the Liberties, most of the buildings you see around you are part of the brewery. Though known as the black stuff, Guinness's colour is actually ruby red, a very dark ruby red. If you hold your pint up to the light and you look closely at it, you can see its true colour. Though this is only recommended with your first pint, and definitely not after your fourth.
Our ship is home alone from the Lisnafarton shore. And Lisnafarton present and we will away more. My brother, this is from Tenor.
Yeah, booking job, see all that there.
Sweet suburban sky. Gonna miss you if you're gonna curse you when it's our
A
turn.
lot of people over there.
As we head away from Guinness, here's something you may not have heard in the tour of the brewery. It has been said that you can get your recommended daily allowance of everything you need in 47 pints of Guinness and a glass of orange juice, you know, for vitamin C. The reason you may not have heard this in there is because it's not true. But you should never let the truth get in the way of a good story. The Black Stuff, also known locally as a pint of play. It's a poem by Flann O'Brien called The Workman's Friend, and it truly captures our relationship with the drink. When things go wrong and will not come right, though you do the best you can. When life looks black as the hour of night, a pint of men is your only man. When money's tight and hard to get, and your horse has also ran. When all you have is a heap of debt, a pint of plain is your only man. When health is bad, and your heart feels strange, and your face is pale and wan. When doctors say you need a change, a pint of plain is your only man. When there are gated entry points. The Western Gate was known as St. James's, which is now the name of the area, and of course, the famous Guinness Brewery. On your left, you will soon see one of the oldest gates of the St. James's Gate Brewery. It is not the one that everyone gets their photo taken with, but it is the one from most of Guinness's adverts.
You'll be well.
To your right is one of Dublin's newest whisky distilleries, Roe and Co. Named in honour of the famous brand owned by the Roe family, which was established very near this site in 1757.
Here's the lion. The Guinness Storehouse, whiskey experience.
Sure. But then again, as author George Bernard Shaw said, whiskey is liquid sunshine. And if there's one thing we lack in Ireland, it is sunshine. Of the light. Originally St. Patrick's Hospital for Imbeciles, it was founded in 1747 with money left by Jonathan Swift after his death. Swift himself was declared mentally unsound by a commission of lunacy in 1742 and is believed to have gone totally silent, not speaking a word for over a year. Today, St. Patrick's Mental Health Services is Ireland's leading not-for-profit mental health organisation. It deals with around 12% of Ireland's inpatient care and employs over 700 staff. I think Mr. Swift would be impressed. We are en route to Imola. The Irish Museum of Modern Art was established in 1990, housed in the Old Royal Hospital of Kilmaine. For over 250 years, from 1684, the Royal Hospital was a home for retired and infirm soldiers. Nowadays, works from some of Ireland and the world's most famous contemporary artists inhabit the building and surrounding 48-acre site. The gallery concentrates on works post-1940, and the permanent collection includes work by Lucian Freud, Annie Leibovitz, and Louis Le Bloquet. An artwork you will no longer see here is a statue of Queen Victoria, which was originally in the grounds of Leinster House until 1922, when it was removed. It was then left in the courtyard of the Royal Hospital, gathering a patina until 1986, when it was loaned to Australia. The irony of Victoria being transported to Australia was not lost on the Irish, and I don't think we'll be asking for her back anytime soon. Stop number 9, Imola, the Irish Museum of Modern Art. In the south, southwest and west of Ireland, Houston Station is named after Sean Houston, one of the leaders of 1916. It was built in 1846 and was originally named Kingsbridge Station. In 1966, at the 50-year commemoration of the Rising, 15 of Ireland's train stations were renamed after the executed leaders. Sean Houston commanded the Mendicity Institute not far from the station along the Liffey. He and his men held there for 2 days, despite only being expected to hold out for 3 or 4 hours. Sean Houston had worked in Kingsbridge Station before the Rising. To your right, it makes its way out to Dublin Bay, and to your left, it stretches for 125 kilometres to the Wicklow Mountains. It divides the city in two, the north side where we are going, and the south side where we have been up to this point. Historically, the north side was where most Dubliners lived, and was considered the posh part of town until around 1750, when the very fashionable Earl of Kildare built a lavish house on the south side. But more on that later. We are making our way towards Ireland's and one of Europe's largest city parks, the Phoenix Park. And as it is the street that leads to the park's gate. On your right is Ryan's Pub, which is my favourite place in Dublin for a steak and a pint, if anyone would like to take me out. And I love the ground. She stands. I love my arms.
Never been here.
The Phoenix Park was originally a royal hunting ground. Built in 1662, it was first opened to the public in 1745. It is 1,750 acres, has an 11-kilometre perimeter wall, and is around one-third covered in trees. It is one of the most biodiverse areas in Ireland and has its own herd of 400 fallow deer. It also contains a Victorian wall garden, the home of the Irish president, the American ambassador's residence, the largest Viking cemetery outside of Scandinavia, a bastion fort, the Garda headquarters, a 15th century castle, 12 soccer pitches, 10 GAA pitches, a cricket ground, a polo ground, at the top of it all off, Dublin Zoo.
What do you think of the new president? Good for nothing.
You will see the largest obelisk in Europe, the Wellington Monument. Completed in 1861, it was built to commemorate the victories of the Duke of Wellington. There are 4 bronze plates on it, which were cast from cannons captured during his victory in the Battle of Waterloo. But the executions that happened here spurred on support for the nationalist cause, and the War of Independence took place between 1919 and 1921. After the War of Independence, a treaty was voted for that gave Ireland freedom, but did not include the 6 counties of Northern Ireland, which remained part of
Very
Britain.
busy in the summer.
All those who fought together during the Rising and the War of Independence ended up on different sides of this decision, and the Civil War broke out in 1922. The 1916 Rising and what followed takes up much of the narrative of Irish history from this time. Yet at the same time as the Rising, most of Europe was embroiled in what became known as World War I.
Or is it park? Oh, it's
Ireland's involvement in the Great War has been a contentious issue and is often forgotten about. But well over 200,000 Irish fought in the Great War between 1914 and 1918. People crossed, built for the visit of Pope John Paul II, when 1 million Irish people came here to see him say Mass. In the centre of the road ahead of you, you can see the Phoenix column, topped by the Golden Phoenix. You will see the US Ambassador's residence on the left, and then the entrance to Áras an Uachtaráin, the official residence of the Irish president. Keep an eye out, as shortly there will be a small clearing and you will get a great view of the property. In one of the front windows, you may be able to spot a small light, placed there by Mary Robinson, our 7th president, and the first female president of Ireland. She described this gesture by saying, "There will always be a light on in Áras an Uachtaráin for our exiles and our emigrants." She later became the United Nations Commissioner for Human Rights, and is one of the most respected and recognized stateswomen in the world.
Interesting.
12. Dublin Zoo. Opened in 1831, it is one of the world's oldest zoos and one of Dublin's most popular attractions. You may have been a small bit suspicious of those around you on this tour. On that day, Dubliners were witness to a very unusual headline: "Stolen penguin found on Dublin street." The following is an extract from that article. 3 men are being sought after a penguin was stolen from Dublin Zoo this morning. The bizarre theft happened around 8:30 a.m. before the zoo opened to the public. 3 men climbed the perimeter fence and entered the penguin habitat, capturing a 10-year-old female named Kelly. They put her in a sack and left the zoo, where they scare you straight. I don't know what will.
The criminal parts of justice.
We are now on Wolfetone Quay, named after Theobald Wolfetone, who was known as the father of Irish republicanism. He was a founder of the United Irishmen, originally established as a political organisation who sought to gain more rights for Catholics in Ireland. But by 1798, inspired by the French and American revolutions, they had become more militant, and in the same year, they launched their own failed rebellion. A British Army base built in 1704, it was renovated and opened as the National Museum of Decorative Arts and History in 1997.
crime.
travelling along the north side of the River Liffey. Between here and the Irish Sea, there are 16 bridges across the River Liffey. 12 road bridges, 1 railway bridge and 3 pedestrian bridges. 2 of them are named after writers. The quite modern one you see on the right is the James Joyce Bridge.
Like
Of
in
number dear.
Oldest bridge in Dublin. It is called Mellows Bridge and was built in 1768. Originally named Queen's Bridge, it was renamed in 1942 to honour Liam Mellows, who was executed without trial during the Irish Civil War in 1922. The Civil War was one of the darkest times in Irish history, where many families were divided. The next stop is stop number 15, Fort Smithfield Square, the old Jameson Distillery. It links Bridge Street and Church Street. It is the site of the first bridge across the River Liffey, hence the name Bridge Street. The first recorded crossing point was recorded here in the year 1000, and there has been a bridge on this spot ever since. In local legend, Little John of Robin Hood fame was said to have been exiled in Dublin in the 12th century, and is said to have shot an arrow from the far side of the bridge to the centre of a target placed in Smithfield Square. On the far side of the bridge, a little up Bridge Street, is the Brazen Head Bar. You may see it as we pass the bridge. The sign above the door says a pub has been here since 1198, but the first actual record of ownership is 1613. As Dublin's oldest pub, it was very popular over the centuries as a meeting point for the revolutionaries. The rebellion of 1798 was organised from there, and after the failed rebellion of 1803, Robert Emmet used it as a hideout before his arrest and execution. His desk is preserved there to this day. It was also a favourite meeting place of Michael Collins during the War of Independence in 1919. If you look to your right, you will notice a building at the corner that stands out for its colourful Art Nouveau frieze work. This building, from 1899, is the Sunlight Chambers, and it belonged to a soap making company. The artwork that runs along it depicts various hygiene-related scenes, such as the process of soap being made, and rather old-fashioned view of men making clothes dirty and women cleaning them. On your right, across the water, you will see the Clarence Hotel. It's the taller building with the balcony near the top of it. That hotel and surrounding buildings used to be owned by the band U2. In the year 2000, they performed their hit song Beautiful Day live from the roof for Top of the Pops. Associated with this fair city. It's on millions of postcards and in pretty much every montage of Dublin ever made. Called the Halfpenny Bridge because it used to be a toll bridge and cost 1 halfpenny to cross. On the other side of the bridge is an entrance to Temple Bar, a hub of activity that every tourist must see. Aside from its many great pubs and restaurants, you will also find the fantastic Irish Rock and Roll Museum experience. Music lovers can get a guided tour of the venue, studios, and tons of info and memorabilia from bands such as U2, Thin Lizzy, and Rory Gallagher. The Rock and Roll Museum is not to be missed. Feared as a playwright and novelist, Samuel Beckett's work was often bleak and steeped in black comedy. Waiting for Godot, Endgame, Not I, and many other works are produced all over the world to this day. Samuel Beckett was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1969. An example of his wit was when he was asked about Trinity College students. He is believed to have said that they are the cream of Irish society, rich and thick. A large red diving bell. This feat of engineering design was achieved by a Dublin man, Lyndon Bloody Stone. It was constructed in 1866, entered service in 1871, and was used for nearly 90 years in building the quay walls of the Liffey. The diving bell you see there is the original, and a great reminder to the locals of the area of their proud maritime history. which is located on Hanover Quay,
That's behind.
is a mecca of sorts for local and visiting U2 fans.
Well,
If you still haven't found what you're looking for and decide to visit, try not to stand too close to the edge or your beautiful day might be ruined. We'll be entering Georgian Dublin. This area on the south side of the Liffey was once a very sparsely populated area, but that all changed in 1748 when the Earl of Kildare, James Fitzgerald, moved here and built an extravagant house known as Kildare House. Now called Leinster House, since 1922 it has been home to Dáil Éireann, Ireland's parliament, so you can imagine how extravagant a home it was. At the time it was seen as a strange move, as this was the unfashionable side of the city. He is claimed to have said, "Wherever I go, fashion will follow," and sure enough it did. By the 1800s, very fine Georgian houses had sprung up all over these parts, with beautiful squares surrounding pleasant greens such as Fitzwilliam Square, Marion Square and Stephen's Green, all of which we will see shortly.
guys, hindi ko natapos ang hop on, hop off na video kasi nalobat si Inday. Nalobat si Inday. Hindi ako nakapag-charge bago pumunta dun sa city. So, katatapos ko lang maligo. So, I hope na na-enjoy nyo po ang Dublin hop on, hop off experience. So please do not forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel.